Michigan, and I am at this moment in one of my favorite places in the world, which is an art supply store. Now, the premier art supply store in my town is a business called Jerry's Artorama. If you're lucky enough to have a Jerry's Artorama in your town, then you're lucky. In fact, I understand as I make this video that there are a number of you that don't have a full-service art supply store in town. And so much of what I say today will pertain to when you go online and look for things to buy in the catalog. Well, here's what I want to do today. As you maybe saw from the title, I want to do, hello Heather, I want to do art gizmos, kind of oddball things. You know, you go into an art supply store, and I'm assuming if you're like me, I'm assuming that you are like a kid in a candy store, right? Everything looks like fun. There you go, Toby. That's exactly right. Those of us who live in, with such a store in town are really, really fortunate. What I want to answer for you is, there's tons of things in here that are great fun. There's a bunch of stuff that's just basic. But there's these kind of oddball things, what I'm calling here art gizmos. Are they really worth it? And I want to just highlight for you a few of them that are worth it, okay? And I'm going to start. I'm going to start way back here in the framing, in the easel department. I'll think of the name in a minute. What are these? So here's a whole bunch of easels, and they're all good and they're all worth it. But just for what it's worth, I'm going to give you my 2 cents worth right off the bat. This one that I'm looking at right here is called, and I don't care about the brand, it's the style. It's called an H-style easel because of the shape. So there's one, and here's another one. In fact, I bought this one just about 5 or 6 weeks ago and have been quite happy with it. So it's an H-style easel. I've got every kind of easel that's back here, and more, way more. I've owned and used every one of them. And the H easel, I think, is just the best bang for your buck. That's just it for what it's worth. Okay, now, what I'm going to do during this whole this whole video today is try to avoid taking movies of customers. The store understandably doesn't want people feeling like they're being videotaped or broadcast while they're in the store. So if I'm dancing around oddly sometimes, that's why. Okay, I am in the oil painting aisle, and I want to show you, I talk about this all the time, but I just want to show it to you for a second. Here we are in front of the Alkyd. That's not it. There we go. No, that's water-soluble oil. I'm mistaken. Anyway, here it is. This is the tube of Winsor Newton Alkyd titanium white. This is the only color that I buy all the time in Alkyd. And that's one of those gizmos that is worth the buy. Now, right across the aisle over here is this strange stuff. I've mentioned to you before that I have a difficulty buying things that I don't know how to pronounce. But I got over it with this one. Neo McGilp. That has got to be the worst marketing decision. Who decided? What board meeting did they decide? Oh, I think Neo McGilp is a good name. That is ridiculous. So I wouldn't buy it, except that I love the stuff. Okay, let me tell you what Neo McGilp is for. It is a slow drying medium for those times when you've already got several layers of oil. And if you ever do this, so this is not a la prima oil painting, but layer by layer by layer. At some point, you need to be getting a little nervous, like, is everything in the lower layers fast dry? If not, then you better make sure by the time you get to layer 3, 4, 5, 6, you better be using some really slow drying stuff. And Neo McGilp just happens to be my favorite one. It's perfectly transparent, flows very nicely, and has a weird name. So it's one of those you might not buy because Neil McGill. Really? Yeah, really. It's a good one. Okay. There's the acrylic aisle, but there's customers in it. So, oh, here we go. This is one of my... There's a couple things on this aisle I really need to show to you. Okay? Weird gizmos worth the price. And here it is. It is a... new. This one happens to be Creative Mark. Doesn't matter. Here's what I'm getting at. It is... I don't have enough hands here today. It is a clamp down lid terpenoid brush cleaner stuff. Okay, now the reason I need to mention this one is because, doggone it, this one cost $50. And I don't know about you, but when I see something that costs, like this, it costs $50, especially when I can buy one of these for $8. For many years, I passed over these kinds of things. And okay, ask for it for your birthday or Christmas or something. But sadly, as expensive as they are, those are worth the price. Okay, there's many different brands. Here's Petite, I don't even know, Creative Mark. There's a Da Vinci brand. So I'm not talking about brands. I'm just talking about the kind of thing. It is a brush cleaner. Oh, now one quick comment while I'm here talking about expensive things. See this nice rubber liner? Yeah? Okay. That's right there. Some of the most expensive and healthy and all natural brush cleaning stuff eats the rubber on these expensive. Now I wonder how I figured that out. I'll just leave it to you to figure out. How did I learn that? Yeah, the hard way. So be careful if you get one of those expensive gizmos right there, $50. Be careful. Don't use this kind of terpenoid natural. I don't know about the Citrusolve, but I do want to say one of the ironies about this kind of stuff, and I've used it all. By the way, Citrusolve is non-toxic. Harmful if swallowed. I don't mean, the vapors are bad, aren't supposed to be non-toxic. But even though it's non-toxic, it's very pungent odor, like very powerful. So you might want to think about that. Okay, next gizmo, here it is. A metal tube ringer. Now, all they have here today these are both metal. And sadly, here's what I want to say is there's a cheaper version of this. This costs $20 here in this store. And they sell plastic ones for like half the price. And sadly, don't get the plastic ones. Now, I'm probably never going to do a video about things not to buy because I just don't like that kind of snobby attitude. But the metal one is worth the price. Don't waste the money on the plastic one because it doesn't do the job. Okay, but this will save you tons of money in paint. $20 has probably saved me $300, $400 in paint over the years because you can get every last speck of paint out of your tube. Okay, let me see, where do I want to go next? Again, I'm trying to avoid shooting people here. Oh, here's a quick little one while I'm here. Proportional dividers. Yeah, sometimes if you're really into trying to do portraits and stuff, that's something worth buying. Let me see if it's safe to go around the corner. It is. Good. Here's a couple gizmos that I really want to show you. It is, here we go, right here. Pencil extenders, pencil lengtheners. So it's $8 for two of these. What in the world, you say? Really? It looks like, it makes me think of, Cruella de Vil, fancy rich lady from the 1950s, who has a cigarette holder. This reminds me of the cigarette holder. But no, it is actually very worthwhile because it'll save you a ton of money when your pencils start to run down. They get too short, you can't really use them anymore. And I was driving here today, I was thinking, okay, how many kind of pencils do I use? I use graphite pencils, charcoal pencils, colored pencils, and watercolor pencils. That's 4 different kinds of pencils. All of them, when they get down about this short, they don't fit in your hand anymore. These, reusable over and over and over again, will save you a bunch of money because you can use those pencils all the way down to the nubs. So that's a weird thing that's worth buying. And right here, just real close on the same list, is another weird gizmo worth buying, and that is right here, an electric pencil sharpener. Now, back 25 years ago, my first electric pencil sharpener was a great big old battery-operated dinosaur thing. They've come a long way with the technology, and these are very much worth it. Again, I think most artists go, really? I don't need an electric pencil sharpener. Till the first time you use one, then you go, oh, I guess I really did want an electric pencil sharpener. You could just, they're precise, they're fast, they're clean. You can go touch up little stuff. So here we're talking, of course, graphite and charcoal in particular. I probably have half a dozen of those. Again, they used to be expensive. Now, thank goodness. What is this one? $8, $9. It's worth paying a little more than that. Anything else here? Well, there's stuff probably already, like little handheld pencil sharpeners. Every time I come into this, that's an exaggeration, but every time I come into this store, I buy a couple more. They don't last forever. The blade, you don't want a dull one, so and that costs $2 for one of those, so that's why I buy a bunch. Well, that might be it. Let me turn around here and look at, oh yeah, here we go. One of my favorite products. And again, some of this stuff is Jerry's products themselves. Some is not. And I'm not sure what's what, but I don't think this is a Jerry's product. But I do, maybe some of you know, I do a lot of pen and ink work. And I've done quite the search for fountain pens. And this, honestly, $20, because I've spent three times that much, and you can spend way more than that, but I spent 3 times more than that for fountain pens, and this is the one I like the best. Only $20. It's called, of all the creative name, Pen and Ink. Pen and Ink Sketch Fountain Pen Set. So I really like that. There's all different kinds of thickness and so on. Okay, let me think. I saw somebody's comment there, paper. I'm going to have to do another broadcast of this some other day because there's way too much stuff in the store. Yeah, I'll do a paper perhaps another time. And canvas, Heather, the thick canvas so you can paint the edges so you don't have to pay for a frame. We've talked about that. I don't have a good recommendation for canvas. Just get whatever you want. Now, probably somebody else has a really good idea. But while I'm over here in the graphic arts department, let me show you another one. And it is this kind of ruler. I don't know if a whole bunch of people make this or not, but it's the plastic. Man, I've gone through a dozen of these in my career, probably more, with those lines, because you can use the lines to measure with, if you will. All kinds of rulers. Look at this. All kinds of rulers in the world. But that's the kind that I get the most. So there you go. That's a quick tip about rulers. Let me see if I've got everything. Oh, here, I will talk about brushes just a little bit. First of all, the best brush ever made, I believe, on the planet is Winsor Newton Series 7. Something happened to them. I think it was an environmentalist thing not too long, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. And now they are outrageously expensive. They don't even have them here at Jerry's anymore. So get online if you can find some good Winsor Newton brushes. I'm talking small, real sable brushes. If you need one to do your signature on your paintings, that's what I say. And you're going to expect to pay $30, $40, or $50. Don't pay $300 or $400, $500, which I found them. Small ones, little ones. They're probably, anyway, and you might want to get one soon because the prices are going up. Okay, but in another department on brushes, again, thousands of brushes, all kinds of brushes. There's 2 I want to talk to you about, my favorites. One is the Silver Brush Company, Silver, and these are their Grand Prix. They're the ones with the green handle and the copper tip, the copper ferrule. They're my favorite brush in the world. Kind of expensive, so I don't just buy those because sometimes I'm in the mood to buy cheap brushes. And I'm not a brush snob. You can do good paintings with cheap brushes. Don't let any art snob tell you have to buy expensive brushes. But if you want a good brush, that's my recommendation. Again, the Silver Grand Prix, the green ones. And while we're talking about brushes, you already know. Here's my other favorite brush, a chip brush. Now this one here in this store costs $5 for a 4-inch brush. I'm glad they've got them back in the store, because for a while Jerry stopped carrying them, but at least this Jerry's did, but now they're back in the store. That's pretty cheap, and you can get them a lot cheaper at a building supply store. Okay, well, I better hang up before I accidentally catch any customers in this video. They're all being really patient with me. And well, maybe we'll do this again, okay? Let me go back and look at some of your comments to make sure I didn't miss any really important one. Why pay so much for a signature brush? Because the point is good. The point lasts. Take good care of it. It'll last forever. That's why. Yeah. Gotcha, Heather. Yes, it is a Toys R Us. I'm going to skip today. I'm going to skip paper and canvas. And right, the pencil sharpeners are not rechargeable. They're just AA battery in there. Watercolors, yeah, Heather, that's right. There's and I've skipped over. I've skipped over all the good stuff here. I'm trying to zero in on weird stuff. Yeah, good watercolor stuff. Toby asked, Alkyd mediums kind of throw the fat, lean thing. Oh, okay. Thank you, Toby, for bringing that up. Yes. I've given this lecture before, but let me give it to you again. Fat over lean. That expression comes from the olden days. In the olden days, and I'm exaggerating, but only slightly here. In the olden days, oil painters had essentially one medium to work with. It was called linseed oil. Okay? And linseed oil is fat. When you add it to the paint, it makes the paint dry slower. Therefore, in the olden days, people said fat over lean. That expression is very confusing now, because we have all kinds of mediums, and many of them are fast dry. Here's the fat over lean expression. You absolutely need to pitch it and replace it with this expression. Here it is. Slow over fast. That's the issue. The issue is slow dry over fast dry. You want fast dry underneath and slow dry on top. So yes, using an Alkyd paint underneath, that's appropriate. It's a fast dry underneath, slow dry. It makes sense, right? Because you can imagine what would happen if you had slow drying paint on the bottom layer and some fast drying layers on top. I hope that your intuition goes, I don't think that's going to go well. And you're exactly right. It's not going to go well. And let's see. Don't they also make the paint film more flexible? Some do and some don't. Not all mediums do. Thanks for wanting the whole store. I appreciate it. Well, good. I'm glad you guys like it. Evidently, I'm going to have to do another one, because there certainly are a lot of other gizmos in this store that I have used. In fact, I'm standing in front of some right over here. Where is it? Here's some gold foil. Man, this stuff is great. But I'm getting crazy. What's it called? I can't read it because it's in French. Guidi. I don't know what it's called. But anyway. PBO? I'm sorry. PBO? Oh, that's backwards, sorry. There you go. PBO. Anyway, fun. So here's a great big display. And again, if you don't have this in your store, you'll just have to find it in the catalog. But some crazy artists just got together and said, let's make a whole bunch of stuff that crazy artists will want to play with. And that's what they did, and it is fun. And my favorite is the foil, different colors foil. Red, purple, blue, gold, silver, green. And it's beautiful. It's real foil. It's not, metallic spray paint type stuff. Okay, that'll have to do. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And hey, that was kind of popular. We'll do another one someday. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.